Greetings, Facebook friends and YouTube guitar enthusiasts. This is Andy's free guitar chart videos. Lesson for chart number 61, 62, which is the modes here. The different modes as in the cage shapes. Extended cage shapes I have here, but you'll see they're the normal cage shapes. And then the modes in that shape. And an easy to follow key of C description of those chords on the bottom there. And then the lesson will finish off with the half diminished, focusing on those half diminished chords, those difficult chords that can go out of the cage, way out of the cage, if you're just going to lower the scale tones to get them. So when you have like a D here, a G rather, D-shaped G, if you want to just lower the two tones, and believe me, it's taken me like that. You know, it used to take me like 30 seconds just to be able to drop that down to there. You see how it starts to extend? So when you get into doing that with longer chords, it gets to be about 5 or 6 frets where it's actually, you know, a fourth, a perfect fourth. So then we bring those notes up. We have to get them back into the cage. We'll get to that. But so I start this little lesson here where excuse me, I've still got a grumbly throat, but I have my coffee, which is like pancake flavor. Syrup, pancake syrup, buttery flavor, but it's really pretty horrible. They all taste the same, like caramel, and I don't like caramel. No. I get it because they only have a few flavors. So here we go with you know, the capo on my guitar. Don't put the capo on your guitar. The capo on my guitar is set here because there's 2 whole steps. Here's E, here's D, here's C for me, because I down-tuned my guitar so that I could play C in the key of E, in the shape of E. So that's a C. Whoop. My Yamaha is doing strange things. Okay, that's what happens when you put a bunch of stuff on your Yamaha synthesizer. All of a sudden it starts doing its thing. So when I put the capo, if I put the capo here, that's a whole step up from the fret nut. From my down-tuned guitar, what is this? I really slapped that C sharp. That's a D. Okay, so I'm putting it up here on the E, so that's where your guitar is. And then I like to start with the little cage thing. I don't do this every day. I'm for the lesson. And what I'm going to zoom in on here and show you. Actually, I don't have to zoom in, but it's over here on the pattern stack. But up here is a better idea because we can zoom in on this too. Alright, starting here on the 3. Why I'm starting here on 3? Because in caged, C stands for C, and you start with this C-shaped C. Okay, and that would make your low E note the 3rd member. Do, re, mi, or root 2, 3, 4. F is 4, G is 5. A is 6, B is 7, way up here. Okay, root again. the C. If that's in C, that would make E the third. All right. So we start with like a we're going to look at this and we're going to do a pentatonic. So it's going to go 3, 5, 6 root, because remember pentatonics, root 2, 3, 5, 6. Root 2, 3, 5, 6. Starting from the third, it's 3, 5, 6, root 2, 3. So we're going to do a pentatonic scale here, which would be 3, 5, 6 root, and that's an S2L shape, a stack of 2 of these long, okay, and then we have to build a stack of 3 of them short. A whole step is short, and a minor third is long. So these short ones would be 2 to 3, 5 to 6, but then we have the tuning warp, so we have to move it to the right, R2, and then we start over again with another stack of 2L. So it's S2L, and then S3S bottom, S3S middle, warp, S3S top, S2L bottom. Okay, and we have talked about that in previous lessons. I have names for them, but these are the basic, your basic squares here that you can make your pentatonic scales. You just have to work the warp. Now, we're not always going to have a warped over stack of 3 short, because when we get to the G shape, we're going to have 2, 3, 5, 6, R2 right there, built right there, that little square there. Okay, so then we go to the G, which is the 5, because in the key of A, when you play your A in CAGED, remember CAGED goes C, A, okay, and then to G. But when you play your A, that E becomes the 5th. That's why we start the CAGED shape on the 5th when we're doing the same CAGED. We're doing the same chord. So C, and then C goes to the A shape C, which starts on the 5th there, and we do a pentatonic. That's the top 2 of an S3S, an S2L right there, and then we got a warp over. Now we warp over on the A pentatonic scale. Let's look at that. So we start here on the 5, 6, all right, and we go to root 2. That's the top 2/3, because we're starting on the 5th. Then we go to the stack of 2 long here. Now, if you're not adding the 7th, you don't know. You have to know to justify these things, and they pretty much go over to the left. And I'm going to have to zoom out and show you that, because anybody this is for people who haven't had this lecture. Right here, way it's feels like I'm zooming in, like one of those zoom in on the galaxy, right? It's not that far away. It's not that complicated. It's not that small. So this would be the here with drawing tool, and I just want to set a line width here that's not so thick. This is the S3S here. It says S3L because that would include the 7 and the 4th, but when we're doing pentatonic, and here's the S2L. And they just build on top of one another, just like that. Sorry. You can't move these little lines around once you draw them. On paint, where I make the charts, I can move those lines around, before I draw them. So they're just stacked one on top of one another, and that's what's going on there for the pentatonic. All right, and so the mixolydian is the 5th. So when you start on the 5 right here, this 5, that's why I say we're starting on middle